Dhru Shah designed and built the Boateye360 after a near-death experience on the water, and he sent us one to install and test. Now, yes, we got this camera for free, but let's be clear, if it were junk, we'd tell you. We don't sugarcoat things on board Tongaroa. Thankfully, it's not junk, because that would have been a hard video to make. In fact, it's kind of mind-blowing. In this video, I'll walk you through the install and show you exactly how it works, including the crazy part where it sees in full color at night. I also show you how it ties right into our Time Zero navigation system. For such an affordable little unit, it might just save our life, or at least keep Tongaroa off the rocks. That's how good it is. All right, are you guys ready to see it? I'm pretty excited.
Okay, bring it up here.
Okay. I'm going to try to do this without killing my wife.
He ships this really well.
And it's really heavy too.
Yeah, okay, don't kill me.
Okay. Are you interested too, Maggie?
And don't stab your dog either.
I picked the largest possible knife that I could get away with in this application.
And $10, it will not be going back into my knife block.
It will not be?
No, because you always just lay them on the counter and then I have to put them back.
Okay.
Gee willikers.
Look out!
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Whoa.
Oh, he did include everything.
Okay,
Oh, wow. Look
start
at
pulling
that.
out what this is.
Okay, so first off, we have what looks like a really nice HDMI cable. Looks like it might actually be watertight too, which is super awesome. That's sweet. Then we've got what looks like the power cable here, or one of two. Here we go. I'll look at this one. Yep, that power. It's got a fuse there. Nice little Canon plug with heat shrink already on it. That's also awesome.
Wow.
I love that.
It's 8 meter. There's heat shrink already on it?
Yeah.
Like, see, that's thinking.
That's definitely thinking
Other
ahead.
companies, take note.
Yeah, yeah.
Dhru's company, you got it going on.
Yeah, and he's got two of these. So I'm not, I'll have to read a little bit more into that, but yeah, we've got two power cables here. And this is pretty cool.
You want to see something sexy?
Yes. So this comes in a really nice Pelican case. Like, check that out.
I got another shrinky.
That's pretty cool. Oh, that would be for the power. So we're going to put that back on the power cord. Wow, I am impressed, Dhru. That's really nice.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So we can.
Uh-oh. I'll hold it up. I'll be Vanna.
Yep.
No,
now,
but like, what's that game with the mystery boxes? They do the prices.
The Price is Right?
No, that's the price there. You pick what briefcases.
Oh.
You know what it is.
I can't remember.
Okay. Disregard.
So there we have it. One Boateye. This thing is solid. Holy smokes. This is really nice. And from what I understand...
There's a whistle.
There's a whistle. So from what I understand, talking to Dhru about this is a watertight case as well. And it's all stainless steel too. It's got appears to have a really nice powder coating on it as well. Like that very much. That's an HDMI to USB adapter. Definitely gives you all the options here. The main power button, that's actually laser etched with the Boateye360 emblem. So you know you're turning on the right thing. Yeah, check it out.
Oh, that is sexy.
Can you see that? Do you want me to hold it farther away?
I need reading glasses.
That's the connector for the button. And then a
extra on the back.
An extra screw for the bracketry. So that's also awesome. So I'm not gonna lie. And instructions, yep, wiring diagram.
Important to read before installation.
Oh, come on. Nobody reads instructions before they install things, do they? No, very, very, very impressed with this. How it all arrived. Definitely some high quality packaging. So very excited to get this installed to show you guys how it works. And thanks a bunch, Dhru. All right, so I am working with our new Boateye360 camera. This is a low light camera, so doesn't take a lot of light, a little bit of starlight, some moonlight, and things are color and look like you're looking at them during the daytime. Anyway, I've got to mount this somewhere. So I've got a few options. I had originally thought that I was going to mount it kind of up here. And original idea was somewhere there. Now, the problem with that is I've got our steaming light right here, and I've got the radar right here. So when you're underway and radar is spinning at night, you get a pulsing light. And I was afraid that with the camera sitting up here, that's going to be really noticeable and really annoying, because being it's a low light camera, it doesn't take a lot of light changes to make a noticeable pulse on the screen. So I tried to think of a few other options. One was going to be possibly right here by the horns. However, then I'm still dealing with a possible pulsing light off the top of the cabin top here. So what I've also thought about is even putting this underneath the coaming here. Unfortunately, that is going to get in the way of the wipers. So I got to figure out a couple of things here. Not to mention that looks a little bit off as well. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick one of those three options, and I'm not sure which one's going to be best. Currently, I'm leaning toward just putting it up top. Maybe even mounting a bracket somewhere up by the anchor light up there, just to get it a little bit higher, where maybe it'll overlook the top of the radar. But yeah, I haven't decided quite yet. Those are kind of my only options. I can't really think of any other place to put it. Maybe out on one of the wings on the mast up there, and then I can put another camera, just a standard daylight camera on the other side. But anyway, I got some figuring to do, and you guys will be one of the first to see when I get it all figured out. Actually, one of our best options is actually going to be to maybe just temporarily hook it up just to see where the image looks the best. So I might do that, just run some temporary power wires, and a temporary Ethernet or HDMI cable, and see what those three locations look like, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is our first position. So this would be up, currently I just have this sitting on top of the satellite compass. And that's a pretty good view out front of the boat. Unfortunately, you can't quite see the front of the boat, just for reference, but I do like that. Just not sure what it's going to do with the steaming light and all that stuff going on. So we might test that a little bit later when it gets dark. But I'll move it down to the next position and you guys can see that one. Okay, that's the next one down. So that's actually sitting right on top of the front eyebrow. You can actually see just a little bit of the bow in the picture there, because the camera is a little bit lower. I would, of course, adjust that up a little bit. And where you didn't see any bow, or very little anyway. So yeah, that's the next possibility.
Last year, about around this time, I was fishing just like this actually on my boat with some friends, and we were anchored 20 miles offshore, catching grunts, and I started cleaning the boat because it was end of the day and we're starting to head back home. Out of nowhere, we see a boat coming in the distance. I mean, just like any other boat you see, like just one boat over there, for example, just driving towards us, and I didn't think of it anything. Just when you see a boat in the distance, well, you see nothing. Yeah, it's normal, right? So this boat particularly, it just kept coming our way and never slowed down. So at first I thought maybe he's going to stop and fish next to us, or maybe he just wants to steal our spot, or who knows, didn't think of it much. And then I kept cleaning my boat, and within another 5-10 seconds my friend goes like, "Dhru, like he's really coming at us directly." And I look up and his bow is like in the air, full speed. So I grab my air horn and I use the boat horn, and we're yelling and we get no reaction. So I was the first one to jump outside the boat as the captain. I said, "Guys, jump," because I'm not playing chicken with the boat.
Right.
And my goal was to jump and stay down there as long as I can and swim away from the boat. So me and my friend, one of my friends jumped on this side and the other 3 guys jumped on that side. Well, one of the guys from our group, it was his first time offshore. This guy had never been out that far fishing, and he didn't know what to do or anything. So he jumped, but he jumped. He was the last one to jump in the water, and he saw propellers going by his head underwater. Ooh. Yeah. So that boat ended up hitting my boat. It was actually on top of my boat. It destroyed my entire T-top, one of my engines, and it was pretty much total. And we were in the water, and when I came out back, I could hear his engines outside the water because he was completely on top of my boat. And then it fell back in the water and it kept going because his throttles were still up. Oh God. So he was on autopilot and not paying attention. And when their boat hit mine, they all fell on the ground. Throttles were still up. So even when the boat fell back in the water, it kept going because the throttles were up. And they all had to basically get up and slow the boat down. And then they turned around, came back, and we were all in the water trying to just process what just happened. Right. Because for the first few minutes, I didn't know, I'm just okay. Boat just came out of nowhere and just hit us. I think I was really lucky, but it was very eye-opening event. It changed my life completely. I still get goosebumps talking about it. Yeah. But it changed it in a positive way, because right after that whole thing happened, I started looking for what happened to me was during day. So imagine what can happen at night, right? Because visibility is even lower at night. So I started looking for a night vision camera so I can safely go out at night and see the markers, the buoys, bridges, other boats, kayakers. We've seen jet skiers running at night with no lights on. And I started looking, and the one I wanted was like $16,000. So I wanted the best, and I looked at price tag and I'm like, there's no way I can afford it. So that turned into what if I just made my own?
All right, so I have decided that my best possible option for where to mount this Boateye360 is right here on the, I guess we call it the eyebrow, or the visor for the front of the boat. And it's basically going to sit kind of somewhere in here. I looked at places up on the mast. Unfortunately, there was no good places to mount it, and also running an HDMI cable down through the mast would be a nightmare. So not super keen on doing that. Not to mention, if I mount it up on the mast, then I'm going to get the reflected light off of the steaming light in the back of the radar, and it's going to make a pulsing light in the video. So what I've done is I've mounted it here, and this actually works out quite perfectly, because if you sit here and you look up toward the mast and the steaming light, there's no line of sight. So it's always going to be in shade here from the steaming light. So I shouldn't have that pulsing action that I'd have if I put it anywhere else. This also puts it in a pretty decent location for running wires down through. I don't have a lot of access into this front area here up to this drip rail. It's all fairly thin, and there's not really any access from the back side. So what I'm going to do is mount the camera to this, and then I'm going to actually feed the wires in right behind. They're going to come out right in front of the horns here. And that whole area I can access, so I can get cables down in through there. It's going to be a bit of a long cable run down to the monitors and such, but because I can't just go straight down. There's no cable runs that come down the front of the windshield here. So the closest I have is the back corner of the pilot house, down into the engine room, across the engine room, up and behind the computers. So it's a little bit of around the world to get there, but it'll work. So I'm going to get going on that. I made a little piece of spacer Delrin here that does two things. It lifts up the camera a little higher so I can adjust the angle a bit better, because otherwise it's going to hit the drip rail here. And it also gives me a big wide platform for sealant. When I put the screws down through the roof line here, that gives me lots of place for that to seal up, versus trying to seal that, which is not going to work very well for me because it's got big slots. I'm not going to be able to get good sealant in there. So the two screw holes for the Delrin are going to be underneath these two pads, and I can seal those even to the top of the Delrin. So that's going to work out pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and get this Delrin pad stuck down, and then I can get this guy mounted, and then we can get the camera mounted on top of that. After that, we'll tackle the wires. All right, as you can see, I have got good squish out all the way around that Delrin block. And I did coat the entire underside of that Delrin block with 5200. Yes, one beauty with 5200 is it's pretty sticky stuff. And seeing as I don't have a fiberglass boat and don't have to worry about ripping up a whole upper layer of fiberglass, I put that stuff on everything.
I put that on everything.
So as long as it's something that it's not going to make it impossible to take off, but this would be pretty easy. So anyway, stuck down with 5200. I'm going to get this wiped up and cleaned a bit because I don't leave the bead if I can avoid it. And then I'll start getting the camera mounted down to that. Okay, my bracket's in place here. Now, I'm not going into aluminum, but I'm still going to use Tef gel because stainless steel can gall pretty easy too. So I'm going to just put a tab on my screw just to give me a little bit of like an anti-seize on that. And then get a little bit on that one. And then lastly, the other one. Okay, now that's enough where I can start getting some angle adjustments happening on that once I get this operational. But first I've got to run some wires on that. Now, ideally I'd like this if it wasn't in front of the horns, but I was kind of running out of options. So that's just going to have to do for now. It's all centered up. It's looking pretty good. Might have to adjust my aiming a little bit, but other than that, I think we're pretty close there. So I'm going to start getting some stuff together, prepping for running wires, and I'll show you guys how I manage that. There we have our Boateye360. You can see I've got a Blue Sea cable clamp over there for the wires to go down through. The power connector is heat shrunk up, sealed, and the HDMI connector is all connected. I've left myself a little bit of service loop as well as a drip loop there. So this can be actually fed down to allow water to drop off. So now I've just got to basically set up my angles, make sure that I'm seeing what I want to see and no more. And then I can lock down my set screws and the outside installation is complete. Then I can get to purely the wiring, which is pretty straightforward at this point. So for the first connection on this, I just did a simple to USB. So basically HDMI, the Boateye360 comes with a HDMI to USB adapter. And you can plug that USB right into your computer or chart plotter, I guess, maybe. Don't have a chart plotter, so I can't confirm that. But as far as a computer goes, you can plug it right in and you can bring it up just as your USB camera. So that's how this is connected right now. Super simple. You can also connect directly with HDMI to your monitor or to your chart plotter. But I'm going to do something a little bit more advanced than that, and I'll show you guys in just a sec. So as per the instructions on the Boateye360, nice switch, the red wire is not used on the back of the switch. And rather than dealing with that and having a spare wire just kicking out, I've just depinned it with my depinning tools. So now I only have the wires that I need coming off the back of my switch, and I don't have a spare little red wire kicking around back there. All right, so just to give you guys an idea so far, it's not totally dark yet. I'm still waiting on it, but this is what it looks like outside the boat. And this is what the Boateye360 looks like.
It's so cool!
Outside. Boateye360. So yeah, so far, pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing what it looks like when it gets dark out. Okay, here's the next test here. Don't know if you guys can just see a little bit of the tree line there. Can't really, maybe just a ever so little shade of the bow here. And that's what we see with the Boateye360. Let's go out the door here and show you guys. So it's still not completely dark yet, but that's a pretty drastic difference in what you can see. I mean, I can make out stuff out here, but I wouldn't navigate by visual in this at all. However, without looking out of the front of the boat, I'd be okay with it. So I also want to make sure that everybody knows that the Boateye360 is a low light camera. Oh, hey there, Mr. Moth. It is not a thermal camera. It's not like a FLIR. It just is based on low light, but it has to have some light, whether it be starlight, moonlight, just ambient light outside. It requires some. So if it is pitch black outside, it will not function, at least not like you'd want it to. So yeah, that's the Boateye, and obviously it's pretty awesome. Okay, so once you got the video wiring all sorted, this is the remainder of the wiring that you have to do. Power side of the Insta360. That's the switch, and then I've got these two wires that I've put in here. One's the extension from the camera. It's just the power and ground that goes to the camera. And the other one is the power and ground that comes from my fuse panel. As you can see, the ground wire from the fuse panel is split right here, and it goes to the switch, and it goes to the camera on the other wire here. Let me see if I can bring that out a little bit more. Right there. Now you can see it. So one goes to the ground supply, one goes to the switch, and one goes to the camera. And then you'll see I've got the other wire, which is the white wire coming from the fuse. That goes to both the green and the white wires on the switch, and then comes back out of the switch on the yellow wire and goes to the camera. So that is it. It is as simple as that. The button is backlit, so when you turn it on, it does light up. But yeah, super simple wiring. I don't currently have a switch panel yet for all of my switches, so I can't mount this in a panel yet, but that's it for the wiring. And then it's just a matter of pushing the button to turn it on, pushing the button to turn it off. I teased you guys with a little bit of a promise on some more advanced wiring in. It's not crazy advanced, but it's definitely more than just a simple plugging in USB or HDMI. This is my Time0 plotter software, and it is all PC based. And the beauty of the Time0 is they've got a camera input function, kind of like a MFD that you'd find from Garmin or whatnot for Uno. And basically it's all based off of Ethernet. It's a network-based camera configuration. Their primary camera that they use is made by a company called Axis. And yeah, they use H.264 protocol, which is a video transmission protocol, and they do it all over an Ethernet cable and via IP address. Now, the Boateye360, great unit, but it doesn't have an IP function, at least not in the camera that we have. Although we did talk to Dhru about this, and I think he is looking into it. I'm not sure when that might be available though. But anyway, I needed to convert that from HDMI to Ethernet. And fortunately, Amazon is your friend. I was able to pop on there, and I found an encoder, video encoder that takes my HDMI and turns it into Ethernet. And after that, it was as simple as telling the Time0 software where to find that camera. So I'll show you guys here. I'm just going to turn the Boateye on to get it to come online here. But you can see before I go to the camera screen, there's actually a cone here. And what that is that's my field of view cone that is programmed into Time0. So it tells me exactly where on the chart I'm pointing. Okay, once I get the Ethernet based connected and talking to the Time0, I just go into my camera tab, and boom, there's my camera tab. And as you can see, not only is it showing my Boateye360 right on my Time0 software, it's actually overlaying my AIS targets where they are on the chart. are on the camera. So it's a visual reference of what you're actually looking at. So pretty cool stuff. Very much looking forward to getting more use out of this. We've had the Boateye360 installed for about 2 weeks now, and we've had some fun, some anchorages where it's getting late at night and may not be pitch black, but it's dark where you can't see the water or anything in the water. And we've watched otters swim by or whatever it be. So it does work well in the applications that it's meant to work well in. And, you know, honestly, for the price of 1,890 Canadian, it's a pretty good alternative in low light to, say, a FLIR, which is going to be up in the $7,000 to $8,000 range. Shocking. So yeah, it's a great unit. The install was super easy. It's 2 power wires and an HDMI cable. You can plug it into a monitor. You can plug it into a MFD of your choice, like the Garmin's or the Raymarines. It just works well for that. It's super easy to install. We went a little farther and put it in our time zero setup. Works great for us, and all in all, we've been pretty happy with it. Now, the downside for us right now is our days are pretty long. We're up north British Columbia, or I guess mid-British Columbia now, and our nighttime windows are pretty small. It doesn't get dark enough to really make use of this until probably 10:30 to 11 at night. And by that time, we're already stopped where we're needing to be for the night. So we haven't had a chance to really test it under navigational situations, but we're going to follow up in probably a year on that once we have a chance to really test it out, and we'll let you guys know how it works. Now, that being said, we would have loved to have had this when we bought the boat down from Wrangell in December, January of 2019. There was actually a situation where this would have been ideal, where it was early in the morning we were leaving, fairly dark still, but there was enough light where this would have really shown, and we did hit a log. It didn't hit props or anything. It hit the bow of the boat. We saw it flip up out of the water and go to the side. No damage, fortunately, but if we had had the Boateye, we probably would have seen that one. That would have been perfect conditions for that camera. And finally, another big pro that we really like is the case that it came in. This makes the perfect lunch kit when we're going on exploration trips with Punga. Fill that up with our lunch. It doesn't get squished. It is perfect, and we love it. All right, guys, so we've talked to Dhru, and he's offered a promo code for us. You'll find it down in the description here, and $50 off for the camera, and shipping is already free. So a good deal made better.
We don't usually take on sponsors, but Dhru and Boateye360 were different. His story and why he built it really resonated with us. It's smart, it's useful, and it was born out of a real need. We also love supporting small, passionate companies when we can. So check them out, and as always, thanks for watching.